Welcome back to the Magic Bloom. My name is Justin, and the Brothers War pre-release is now over, but I thought it would be a very cool idea and a very different video than just opening packs to show off my pre-release deck and how I think it did and do some analysis. Let's go to the table. All right, first thing, for those who don't know, a pre-release deck is basically you go to the store, you get a little box with 6 packs plus a promo, and you have to build your deck from that. You don't get any other cards. So first thing I want to do is just show you my pool of rares, and you can tell me what you think. So this is my pool of rares. Okay, we'll start over here. So I got 3 red ones here over the top: Visions to Phyrexia and Mishra's Command. Okay. I had an Underground River, dual land, not so great in limited. Sculpting Steel, I expected to see lots of giant robots, which I did, so this was pretty good. Steel Seraph, okay. I hope I'm not ruining the surprise. This is probably one of the best cards in this sealed format. Liberator Urza's Battlethopter, pretty good, was my promo. You can see a little stamp. Clay Champion. Razorlash Transmogrant, little recurring 3/1 that can't block, and Inspiring Statuary. So that was my pool, and out of that, what colors would you have gone? Right? Do you think these are strong enough that you would have started with red? Here's the other thing that I want to show you as well. If we put those aside, is that this is all my red cards. So I got a ton of red cards, but there just weren't enough strong creatures in there. I had some good green cards, but again, there was very little and there wasn't enough creatures. This made me want to play blue right away, but again, there were no creatures in it. That's my entire blue pool, and blue looks very similar to black. Had a couple other artifacts, a couple black there, and then just some random things that I sort of looped through. I, at one point, had this in my deck just as a draw spell. And of course, Rust Goliath. So that was my pool. Let's see what my deck breakdown is, and then we can talk about how I did and what the cards were that I saw the most. So, getting back to the rares, like I said, I opened this. I knew I wanted to play that because that's colorless, allows you to flash him in. He flies. Flying in limited is always great. I think I opened Transmogrant next. I wasn't sure if I wanted to go black because I didn't have enough black cards, but a guy that recurs and attacks for 3 is pretty good. And then this was the tough part, was Steel Seraph. Now for 6, this is perfect and fits in any deck. The troubling thing is that a lot of the time you want to cast it for the prototype so that you can get that damage in early. I cast this more for its prototype cost during the pre-release than for its actual CMC 6. So this is a very, very good card though, because you can give any of your creatures flying, vigilance, or lifelink. Everybody pretty much goes lifelink to just rack up that life because, again, in limited, somebody gaining 4 or 5 life or something like that is very hard to come back from. And then Clay Champion. So this was a, do I go green or do I stay with white? Do I even use white? Both of these are very, very powerful, especially when these were both on the battlefield. I had 2 games where I had both of these on the battlefield. Being able to pay 4, use 4 white, and basically stack 2 counters. What is it? 4 counters. No, 2 counters, right? Because you're doing it twice, sorry. 2 counters on this and 2 counters on somebody else, right? Very, very powerful, especially if they're both flyers. So that's what I knew I immediately wanted to do. Sculpting Steel was just a nice include because I handedly expected to see people dropping stuff like this at some point, which they did. Or if there was just another, like if somebody else had their own Steel Seraph, I'd want to be able to copy that. All right. So that kind of had me leaning white, but let me show you, let me see where I can put those, what I ended up with. So I ended up with a white-black deck. I'm just going to sort of quickly go through these here, and I'm going to talk about the main points of why I built this way. So it's basically supposed to be black-white flyers, and I was really hoping to do black-blue or black-green, but again, I just didn't feel like I had enough cards for it in your pool, and you just kind of have to go with what you got. So first off, let's go and pull out all of the essentially removal. In limited, removal is extremely helpful because you don't get to choose the cards that you open, right? So having cards that remove the other person's creature, very, very strong. Let's see, let's double check. I think there was one more. Maybe it was just 6 though. Almost there. Okay, so that was it. So I had essentially 6 removal spells, right? These are all just like O-rings. Static Net has a nice benefit to it. Prison Sentence is like an arrest. It basically makes their creature unusable, especially if they have an activated ability. Same thing, I had 2 of those. And then I only opened 1 Overwhelming Remorse, unfortunately, but this is a very good spell. All right, and then here's 2 things that I opened as well. Now, in most formats, this would not serve as a removal spell, but seeing as Brothers War was like almost entirely artifacts, you know, so many of what you're playing with, my best cards were all artifacts. These served as removal spells every single night, just getting rid of creatures. So I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 essentially removal spells. So after seeing this in my pool, I pretty much knew I had to go white because that was going to be my strongest chance. And all of these cards did work as expected. So those were my bombs. This was, let's put Steel Seraph on top. This was my removal. Now let's look at my creatures. This is probably the weakest spot, and this is what kind of hurts. There we go. That guy's very good. She's good. And that's it. So outside of my bombs over there, right, you can see I only had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 creatures. So I only had about 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I only had 12 creatures in the deck. Tough, right? And the rest of it were lands and spells. So Carrion Locust was basically just a flyer, but the ping for 1 damage, I almost always hit something in their graveyard. But other than that, he was a 2/1 flyer. Paired with Steel Seraph, basically got lifelink. If this guy couldn't get lifelink, Clay Champion, oops, sorry about that. Clay Champion regularly put +1/+1 counters on them, so that was good. Hero of the Dunes, I never cast this. I never saw this the entire night, but would have been good for some recurrence. Scrapwork Cohort basically just gives you a soldier token, and you can unearth him for cheaper. That was useful. Scrapwork Rager gives you a card you can unearth. That was also useful. The 4 cost is a little heavy, but just another flying guy. Airlift Chaplain was yet another flying creature. Ambush Paratrooper. This is easily my best creature out of this stack that is not one of the bombs, because he flashes into during your opponent's turn. He has a low cost. I wish I had opened more of these, but it's just what it is. And then in addition, for 5 in the late game, this won me at least 1 or 2 games. Basically paying 5, everybody on your team gets +1/+1. Just very good. There was a couple, I think 1 game I won where I had to pump him twice and got an extra 6 damage in or something like that. So with the entire team. So there you go. Those were creatures. Those were removals. These were my artifact bombs. And let's look at the rest really quick. So this was just recurrence, plus it gives you a blocker basically. And then I had 16 total lands. This was just to protect like a Seraph or something, or if I needed to jump block, but needed to keep my guy around to attack. That was useful. Repair Recharge. Most of the time I just use this to recur in O-Ring if they found a way to bounce it off or something. I wish I could have used that for a creature, but again, most of the time it was just, let's go get another O-ring and put it on your guy. Let's see, take those out. I only drew this once, but this was a draw spell. Could have been removal, but mainly a draw spell. And another little bit of recurrence. I think I only used this once, unfortunately. Just the way the cards work, I guess. So, a little bit more recurrence, some spells in there, and then again, like I said, 16 lands. So that was my deck. My record was I won one match, I drew another match, and then I lost two. Let's talk about the meta then, and why I lost both of those, aside from just maybe not having enough creatures. I thought my deck was pretty good, and I felt good after my first win, but this is the reason that that a lot of people lost matches. In the Brothers War, there's huge robots, and they have these huge costs, even if you don't prototype. Almost nobody played green. Everybody played blue-white. Every single person I played blue-white, except for one guy who had red-green. Everybody else played blue-white. Even when I was looking at other tables, everybody was playing blue-white. And people were just trying to ramp into stuff like this, which is a 10-10 reach trample. That's nothing to be shy about, right? This does a ton of damage. So other massive creatures like that is basically what everybody else was playing. I think he's the only big guy I opened. Yeah, I only have the clear cutter, but basically there were people who were running multiples of these, and they just tried to like stall out the game as much as possible until they could get one of these out. Yeah, my deck just can't do much against the big robots. I tried to go more aggro and mid-rangey with it. But again, just even if I got this out, even if that was my best guy, and they drop something with reach that's a 10-10, the game is pretty much over unless I draw a removal. And I had one game where I drew a very clutch, overwhelming remorse in order to exile their big dude right off the top. That was probably one of my most exciting games, but otherwise everybody's playing white-blue with big robots, and that seems to win. But that's pretty much it. I think my deck was good. I did open, like I said, I opened a lot of red cards, and I had 3 red rares, but I just didn't think it was worth going into red because I just didn't feel like there was enough pressure in red. So that's what I did. But thanks to our very generous WPN store, regardless of your standings, you got 2 set boosters and a Wall of Roots promo, which has a nice little like watermark stamp on it. Let's open those up, why don't we? Little pringly this morning. Let's open these up to see what we got for our consolation prize. Okay. There's a Silex, got that one already. Got a Plains. Boulder Branch Golem. Yeah, this one. This was another one that people played. It's a gain 6 life. It's crazy. Destroy target artifact. Power plant worker. No one left behind. Hey White Mire. That did some damage to me. Involuntary cooldown. Yoshin Dissident. Mass production. That would have been helpful. Nice! A defense grid. Ooh, what a good pull out of the artifact slot. It would have been cooler if it was schematic, but I'm not going to complain. Defense grid is a great card. Holy smokes. Holy smokes. Teferi Temporal Pilgrim. A mythic. Wow. Okay. You know what? I don't feel so bad about losing 2 games last night. These packs, there you go. I'm set. I'm a winner. Teferi Temporal Pilgrim. Beautiful. And Desynchronized Foil. Oh my gosh, look at this. And an Urtai Corrupted out of the list spot. Oh my gosh, I'm going to have to make this into a short. Look at this pack. Look at this pack. Insane. Absolutely insane. Okay. Stoked. Completely stoked. Wow. Thank you, store, for giving me epic luck on my consolation packs. All right. Staff of Domination. I think I have that one already. That's all right. Plains. Now we're not going to get that lucky in this one, but you never know. Epic Confrontation, Sibling Rivalry, Evolving Wilds, Burrowing Razor Maw, Trench Stalker, Static Net, good card, Pyretic Blast, Suchi Cave Guard. This is another epic card in Limited with Ward 4, hard to beat. Springleaf Drum, come on, a rare card. Oh my gosh, double mythic? I'm lost for words here. Myrel, Shield of Argive. Wow, during your turn, your opponents can't cast spells or activate abilities of artifacts, creatures, or enchantments. Whenever Myrel, Shield of Argive attacks, create X11 soldier artifact tokens where X is the number of soldiers you control. Wow. This is incredible. And Thanos is tinkering. Oh my goodness. Can we just... Okay, this was my consolation for losing. I'm going to make this into a short. I'm going to make it into a greatest hits or something if I have that. Look at this. This is insane. Thank you. I'm glad I went to play that pre-release. I'm glad I got the standings I did. These were epic polls. I'm happy. If you have questions or comments about the pre-release deck that I built, or anything that I talked about, or you just like the cards or whatever, please let me know in the comments. Let's have a chat. Let's talk about it. I hope your pre-release went well if you were able to attend, and I hope you like and subscribe and help me out, and we'll keep making videos together. Thanks everybody. We'll see you again soon.